Hey thinkers, asking the right question at the right time is a learned skill. And if you struggle with asking good questions in class or in your study time, then perhaps this video will help. Questions deliver answers. You know this. But if you don't know how to ask the right question at the right time, or the best question according to the situation that you're in, then you're never going to be able to get the type of answers that you're really seeking after, and that is the best answer. So understanding that question asking is a learned skill is highly important for you as a student. Today I want to talk about 5 things that I think are critical in you being able to put yourself in a position in which you're always asking the best question. The first thing is asking the right question requires attention to detail. I can't tell you how many times in my past I was told I need to pay attention to the details in order to get a specific skill to the point in which it was good. So I had to learn how to break everything down piece by piece so that I could put everything back together as an integrated whole, as a healthy whole. And this applied to a lot of different areas in my life. It applied to being an athlete, it applied to being a coach, it has applied to being a teacher, and definitely as a student, going after my master's and my PhD. So I had to learn, as you need to learn, if you haven't already, that really paying attention to the little things is always going to make a difference in you better understanding whatever the big thing is. Asking the best question also requires that you listen well. And your ability to pay attention to detail is also directly related to your ability to listen well. And to be clear, listening is not just hearing what somebody is saying, but listening is actually receiving value from what it is that you're hearing. So my wife can say something to me, but if I'm not listening to her, I'm not actually going to receive what it is that she's actually trying to say. So there's not going to be any kind of takeaway from what it is she's saying. In order for me to receive value, I have to hone my listening skills. And that is a process that requires you dialing in your attention to detail. So 1 and 2 really relate closely to one another. Asking the best question also requires you to increase your baseline knowledge about whatever it is that you are trying to learn. If you don't have any baseline knowledge, then you're not really going to have the insight necessary in order to ask the best question and to receive the best answer. There is such thing as a wrong, and I want to be careful here because I don't want to say dumb, but you'll hear oftentimes teachers say there's no such thing as a dumb question. And that's not entirely true. There is. But if we frame it more like there's such a thing as a wrong question, then what we're really saying is there's an opportunity for somebody to ask a question that really misses the mark as far as what somebody is talking about in that particular instance. And as an instructor, I hate to say it, but this happens a lot where somebody will ask a question and it actually doesn't relate to exactly what we're talking about in that particular moment. And so your ability to be able to ask the best question and in order to get that best answer is partly based on your baseline knowledge of whatever that content is. So a lot of times you may be hesitant to ask questions in class because you don't have that baseline knowledge. And that's why it would always be important or prudent on your part to make sure that you do your due diligence and read what you need to read before going to class so that when the instructor is talking, you'll actually be able to ask better questions because you already have that baseline knowledge. The problem with that is most students don't actually read or look over slides or any of their notes before they enter into class. But if you want to be the best student possible, you will change your habits and you will make sure and read before class so that you're going in with that baseline knowledge. The fourth thing that you need in asking the best question is you need to have a learning mindset. Now, If you don't actually want to learn something, then there's really not going to be any incentive to asking a question so that you can get an answer. The quality of your desire for learning in whatever context that you are in, so whatever class that you might be in, or whatever the subject matter, or maybe it's the instructor and you either like or don't like them, the value of your mindset is always going to make a difference in the quality of the question that you're asking. The more invested you are in the process of learning, the more you're going to get out of it. So if you want to be able to ask the best question possible, you're also going to have to develop a mindset that really takes you in a direction of wanting to learn as much as you possibly can. So again, without a desire to learn, there really is no incentive for asking questions. The last thing that we're going to cover today is that asking the best question requires skill development. Now again, based on what we just previously talked about with regard to having a learning mindset, your desire to move forward in the development of your skill, and specifically what we're talking about here is the skill of being able to ask the best question at the right time. And so wherever you're at right now, it's okay. You can't really change that except for making a decision that you want to move forward from here. And the truth is, if you want to become a better questioner, question asker, however you want to frame that, then you just have to start asking more questions. It may be that when you first start asking questions, you're not going to ask great questions. That would actually be expected. When you're first starting out in anything, you're never going to be all that great at it. So you always have to start somewhere though. So wherever you're at, I encourage you, start asking questions. If your instructor looks at you a little funny, that's on them, okay? And don't worry about what it is that they're thinking. Remember, you're trying to get to a place. You have a goal in mind of, I want to learn how to ask the best questions possible because I know that it makes a difference in my overall ability to be able to succeed in any platform of life. We're talking about this in the context of school, but if you were able to ask the right and best question whenever you're having a problem in a relationship, or whenever you're having a problem with a coworker, or even with your boss, no matter what the situation is, the best answer that you can possibly get will always be directly linked to the quality of the question that you're asking. You may be saying to yourself that this seems like pretty obvious stuff, and it may or may not be, but my experience has taught me that many people, especially college students, struggle with asking the right question at the right time, or the best question that's going to lead to the best answer. So I want to encourage you to really apply the principles that we've talked about here today and make sure that you develop the skill that you need in order to ask the best questions. Whatever the degree that you believe your ability is regarding asking great questions or the right or best question at the right time, it matters, but in the end, it really doesn't matter because you can always get better. That's the beauty of any type of skill. There's always room to improve. I may consider myself a professional question asker, but I also understand that the more questions that I ask, the better that I get at it. So make sure that you follow the 5 principles that we've discussed today and really make a difference in your overall quality to be able to ask the right or best question at the right time. It'll make all the difference in your success as a student, but not just that, in life as well. If you found this video helpful, I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel so that you can receive updates whenever we post new videos, which we post every Thursday. Also, if you have friends that are students that you know could learn how to ask better questions and could use these 5 principles that we've discussed today, share that with them. The reason why I post these videos is because I sincerely want to help you become a better student. So remember, learn, develop, grow. That's why we're here. So learn how to ask the right questions, develop your ability in that area, and you'll see growth. I'm Dr. Jason Wright with Think It Clear, and I'll see you next time.